And we are live! Hey, everybody watching on YouTube live or in the future. My name is Sammy James, and I'm happy to welcome you to episode 16 of We Are Trans Presents Trans Talks with my wonderful guest, singer, songwriter, amazing human being, Lara Americo. How are you?
Hi, thank you for your kindness.
So first thing I ask on this show is for my guests to introduce themselves a little bit more. I ask specifically, what words do you use for yourself? And this can be around queer and trans identity, but it can also be singer-songwriter. Just any words that really gel with you. Um, and also, after you've done that, introduce yourself further however you like.
yeah, I consider myself an artist. I just use a lot of different mediums to get my points across. I don't know, I like making music, but I also like making films.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not necessarily the best at any of these things, but I think um, I think it's important that people get their stories and feelings across. Um, so that's what I try to do.
Yeah. I don't know.
Um,
You're pretty good at it. Like you're pretty good. Like I of all people, like I understand modesty because that's how I react to that. But like you're pretty good at it.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I have a I'm in a band or two, and I am making a film, and I have a gym. That's like the major things.
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
those are all I have those written down. We're talking about all three of those. Since you started with, talking about music in your intro, would you like to talk first about your band or bands, as I know you have two, and the EP that you have coming out?
oh yeah, so like I'm simultaneously trying to record things for two bands. One is it's one I'm really proud of. It's called Morning People with a
Mm-hmm.
U in parentheses. So
Yep.
you get to choose whether it's Morning People or like Morning People. So
I like
we're
that.
all trans. We try to cover all the identities there, and we're all songwriters in our own right. So we try to combine all of
Mm-hmm.
our instrumental abilities and writing abilities into some sort of hodgepodge power trio, which it ends up being really cool. This really folksy, queer, country, shoegaze music. Um, and then I have another band with my partner, which
Mm-hmm.
is sort of like this glitter punk gay version of like the White Stripes, sort of. Like
Okay.
it's like a power rock duo.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife is writing this Audible book, and we're like the soundtrack on it. So like we're trying to record for that, and it's tough. It's tough unless you have a big budget. But I really enjoy the challenge of limited skill, limited technical ability, and a lot of ideas and sound.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening now.
Cool. Cool. What's the upcoming Morning People EP going to be called?
Oh, we don't know yet. I
Oh,
have
okay.
no idea. Like
Trans Talks exclusive. No.
like we just have a bunch of songs.
Mhm.
Like pandemic time, we would get together here and there virtually, and we finally got together in person, and songs would just pour out into the room, and we put names on them. So I imagine once we finish recording, we'll figure out what the mood is for all these songs.
Yeah.
Probably something anime based or like really, really, really gay. we'll see.
What's the difference? Sorry.
Good point. Good point.
So before I move on to the other two projects that you mentioned, two questions that I ask everyone on this show. I want to get through them, and then we can go on to you specifically. Um, but what gives you gender euphoria? This is my favorite question to ask people.
Um, when gender euphoria, like when my baby calls me Maddie, that's like the top one. But when I'm wrapped in a blanket on the couch like a burrito, and I'm sort of, I feel like I'm floating in space like a cloud, like a cosmic radioactive ball of matter,
Mhm.
and there's something on TV that I'm not really watching, and I just sort of stop existing in the gendered binary plane, and I just exist. Like those two things, those two times.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's my favorite question to ask. I think this has been most guests' favorite question to answer. What cis nonsense are you sick of?
Oh, gender reveal parties.
Right?
Why? Like, how many forests need to burn down before
Mhm.
we realize we don't get to pick anyone's gender,
Yeah.
no matter how many explosives you have?
Hmm.
That's probably the biggest
Yeah.
one.
I bet the cake tastes terrible anyway.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So, tell the people about the documentary you're working on.
Oh, it's the biggest, most difficult thing I've ever worked on. But um, when I did more work in journalism, like I
Mhm.
was bouncing around everywhere, mostly covering protests and like getting shot at with rubber bullets and paintballs, which was pretty intense but really important work.
Yeah.
Um, and like touring, when I used to tour with like punk bands, um, like queercore, I'd always find myself in like these very extreme radical activist spaces and queer spaces, and I gained more from just meeting those new people who learn how to navigate in their town based on like who lives there and what the political climate is and how strongly people feel about trans people in either direction. And it made me a much more well-rounded person, just absorbing people's um, ideas and lives. So I wanted to try to share that in a more uh, as mainstream as possible, I suppose.
Hmm.
So I've I filmed a pilot episode, and I'm trying to make a series of episodes in different locations, which is basically a transgender mix of Reading Rainbow and Parts Unknown, like Anthony Bourdain. And
All right.
so, like the first one is Iceland. How it's a pretty progressive place, but just how progressive is it? How are people actually about trans folks who live in Reykjavik and outside of Reykjavik? So there's that, and I'm gonna go to Paris, and there's like a history lesson with each episode. Like
Cool.
for example, there were transgender Vikings. There's
Yep.
evidence of
Yes, they
trans
were.
Vikings and this trans people in the Icelandic sagas, thousands of years old.
Hmm.
There's like a trans man Viking story, and it's really interesting. I know conceptually that trans people have been everywhere in every time and in every place in human history, but to see it, like the effects of it, it's really
Yeah.
um, It's
That's awesome.
powerful. So yeah, that's the biggest one right now. It's I hope I get to finish it because it's
Yeah.
like tough.
Hmm. Does the documentary series have a name yet?
Yeah, right now the working title is A World in Transition.
Oh, I like that. That's like a great soundbite. That's like like.
Yeah, it's I'm going France, I'm gonna go Japan,
Mhm.
gonna go um Berlin, Mexico. Those are the next major ones.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, trans people are everywhere, so
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
endless amount of content. Canada, the Two Spirit, Indigenous people.
Hmm. Cool. Cool. And I mean, everything you have talked about is awesome and important, and I'm excited for. But like, as a former athlete growing up, like I'm really excited to talk to you about this gym.
Oh yeah, it's so it's called Tiny Gym, and it's actually a
Okay.
really really tiny gym, and it's the only body positive trans inclusive space or gym that I know of, at least in
Right.
Manhattan. Um, I've seen a few like queer gyms. I think there's one in California, Southern
Hmm.
California, and I've seen a few other spaces that are similar and pop-ups here and there. But as far as I know, it's the only like we don't mess with we don't um, subscribe to toxic diet culture and all the body negativity that's associated with fitness,
Yeah.
like the calorie restrictions and things like that, that are usually, every weight loss advertisement,
Hmm.
it's all just garbage. So, Tiny Gym in the West Village, like
Yeah.
like across from Stonewall, which is like kind of surreal. It's like between Stonewall and the police station that started Stonewall, was the major antagonist.
Nice.
Um, so I don't know, trying to change the world, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, and this seems like a logical question to ask with this, like, but and I know this a little bit, but like, what's your background in fitness that led you to this idea, if you would like to share?
Yeah, definitely. So I transitioned around 2012, and like I was before that, I was my life was MMA fighting, and before that, it was like the Air Force.
Hmm.
So when I transitioned, I used all of that knowledge just
Yeah.
to become a more feminine bodied individual. So
Hmm.
it was just like extreme calorie restrictions and um, trying to like decrease muscle mass and things like that.
Hmm.
And I just completely abandoned fitness because I thought, it didn't positively
Hmm.
enrich my gender identity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I realized like when I moved to New York and like I saw these gyms and I just hated the messaging and I hated how bad they made me feel about myself. So I got back into it just with a different mission and goal in mind. Um, and for the first time, I was using fitness as an act of self love instead of
Yeah.
self hatred, you know?
Hmm.
And instead of preparing for like an MMA fight or something like that,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
just so I can live longer and feel better physically.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's I can't believe this conversation has never happened between you and me. But other people who've been on this show, have had this conversation with me. People who've listened to enough of these episodes definitely know this about me.
Mhm.
I transitioned in 2013, and prior to that, I was an amateur MMA fighter.
Oh my god. You
So
too?
it's like,
What the heck? How did we not
this
know this?
never? How has this conversation never happened?
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, that's surprising. Yeah.
audience, you just saw me and Lara become more friends. It's just like, what? You just saw an
Wow.
extra layer of our friendship appear before your eyes.
I love it. I love it. That's cool. That's surprising.
Yeah,
But in a way,
that's what a lot of people say.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I wanted to be like the welterweight champion of the world or something.
Yeah.
It's like all I was doing. Training.
Yep. Yep.
But
And then same thing. It was like after I was just like I kind of just like left it behind. It was also because like I'm not safe in these spaces.
no.
How could like how do I stay fit? Like,
hmm Exactly. I tried going to a few gyms, like this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms, and it was just incredibly scary, incredibly awkward.
yeah.
There's a few like places that are cool about trans people, but I don't know. Like I've been teaching self-defense classes for a bit,
Mhm.
and everybody always asks, "Well, what do we do now?" And I have no idea what to tell them because I can't like. I would just go to Henzo Gracie, and everybody will be nice to you because I just don't know that.
Mhm.
So I'm actually doing a trans fight club in the tiny gym on Wednesdays, starting like next week.
Don't say
So
that to me. It's like, God, don't give me another thing to do, Lara.
yeah, we have a black belt overseeing, so there's gonna be like
Okay,
real belt
cool.
progressions.
Cool. Because
And
it's listen, I've just been looking to get back into martial arts, but I'm just like, so I've been doing a lot of training in the past few years just on my own for muscle. I mean, I was in karate since I was like 12, so I had a lot of muscle memory and knowledge to like fall back on, but I've been looking for like a martial arts gym, and I'm just like, where are they? What? Okay. So like, I
no, it
thank
is
you.
fun.
uh
Yeah, it's important. We need to like not just for the self-defense stuff, but
exactly.
it's really good to interact physically with people for a lot of
Yeah.
people in the community. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of trauma, physical trauma that
Yeah.
exists with people of our identity or similar identities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think it would be really beneficial for people.
Yeah.
And it's free. We're gonna have different instructors coming every weekend or every Wednesday.
Okay.
And
Cool.
hopefully more nights a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
cool.
It's so one of these days. Yeah, but
Oh my god.
anyway, back to the questions. And so these are the three projects you wanted to make sure to talk about. Is there anything else you would like to get to before I get into the fun stuff? It's all been fun, but
Mhm. Yeah, there's a graphic memoir that I've been working on for 8 million years.
Mhm.
And I just hope I'm gonna say it in this space that I want this to happen, and I hope this thing finishes at some point, so that I'll have a reason to work on it again. But yeah, I just really need to finish this stuff. There's just so much to do in so little time. But
Yeah,
yeah, graphic memoir
awesome,
2072.
nice. It's on the calendar. Yeah. So, one of my favorite things to do in these trans talk interviews is it's mostly artists, but even when it isn't, I like to ask questions that relate to a trans person's just relationship with the arts, and also I like to ask questions that we don't get asked in interviews anymore. Like no one asks us these things as an adult. So first question, what's your favorite animal?
Oh.
Right?
Oh. um, dolphins are my go-to.
Nice.
They're cool. They're
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah,
Giant.
they're very smart. And this is the question everyone gets in this segment of the interview. What is your comfort food, comfort music, comfort movie?
Oh. Um. Amélie de Montemort. Um. A giant bag of New York style cheddar kettle chips. And what was the other one? Music?
Yeah.
Oh, You Only Live Twice theme song. Either the orchestrated one or the Nancy Sinatra one.
It's a great song.
It was so good. It's like
Yeah.
kind of like the trans soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
The two lives, the overcoming adversity.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah. And what really gets you? What do you really like in visual art? When you see it,
Um,
both that you're seeing, or if you produce visual art.
a departure from the physical, but somehow displayed physically. Like
Okay.
there's some art where it doesn't make sense if you try to make sense of it physically or compare it to something
Uh-huh.
like abstract, to an extent, but like the MoMA I went the other day, and every time I go to the impressionist section, and there's these giant paintings that from far away it's like it's something,
Mm-hmm.
but it kind of forces you to stop thinking about what it is, and then you just kind of feel like the water,
Mm-hmm.
and then something strikes me, and I just leave my body for a second. It's very, very hard to accomplish. I haven't pulled it off yet visually with any of the things I've made, but that's like goals, bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I always ask something that, like, I don't know, people may. This is the wrong way of saying it, but I always ask a ridiculous question. What is your favorite sound?
Sound.
Just like it doesn't need to be musically. I mean, like, just like, I don't know, the sound of a water bottle opening. Just like there's sounds that comfort us. Come on.
I know it. I know it. It's You're in the middle of the forest in heavy snow, and the snow is dampening all the noise. And all you can hear is that crunch of your feet going into the snow.
It's a great sound.
I love it.
Yeah.
I wish I could like put that in a jar or something.
Yeah. So, Lara, I cannot believe how much and how like wonderful a conversation this has been, but also like how much we have fit into 25 minutes. Like we jumped right into this.
Mhm.
Uh So there are two more parts of this. Last question I ask
Mm-hmm.
is for you to shout some people out. Who are some amazing trans folks doing good work right now?
Um, hmm. Like I'm really into Tourmaline right now.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
she's doing really good. She's really breaking barriers on a contemporary level as an artist and activist.
Hmm.
Um, like there's a few activists I can think of. There's always activists, but like art wise, I'd say Tourmaline's my favorite right now.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah, no, it's a great it's a great person to shout out.
mhm. Yeah, it's like you know, there activist wise, it's there's a lot of people doing good work on the ground, but
Hmm.
um, I really enjoy the way Tourmaline threatens the mainstream. um, Ashley Marie Preston. Oh, I love her.
Yes.
Like she's like an earthquake, and like at the same time a gentle breeze. Like the way she keeps very negative situations positive and like filled with light. Really appreciate that, and I
Hmm.
I look up to her. Um, a friend of mine passed away recently. Janice Covington. She was in her 70s. She was in Vietnam. She
Hmm.
was a fire chief and then transitioned, and she was a delegate for the Democratic Party for years and years and years, and started a trans caucus in North Carolina. Who does that? But yeah, she left a big mark and a big hole, giant hole to fill in the South. But yeah, that's what I think of most immediately.
Awesome. Well, I mean that's a great list. That's a hard list to top. So, um, and Lara, thank you so much for talking to me. The last thing I'm going to
Hmm.
ask is for you to plug yourself. Tell people where they can find you on social media if you want them to do that.
Yeah.
And anything else you'd like people to know or be able to find on the internet that you haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, I'm only using Instagram right now,
Hmm.
and it's just at Lara Americo. But that and like my newsletter, but my website, I suppose, laraamerico.com. It's all just my name.
Hmm.
I mean, that's all I could think of right now.
Okay.
It's the best way to learn about things like trans fight night. But yeah.
Cool. Cool. Well, this has been a lovely conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I hope you at home or wherever you are watching enjoyed it too. If you'd like to follow and learn more about We Are Trans, you can follow us on Facebook at We Are Trans Official. Uh, Twitter at We Are Trans One, or Instagram at Hey We Are Trans. They really should have all been the same thing, but that's how it happened. And we have there's no We Are Trans show this month, but we have really good stuff coming up in the future. Lara is going to be on our show in November. It's going to be a singer songwriter and poetry show on November 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have a few weeks before that, so you'll hear about it again. And then if you enjoy Trans Talks, we will be back next week, and I will be interviewing the hilarious and hard-working, prolific Nina Martinez, fantastic trans comedian in Madison, Wisconsin. She's doing great work, and I can't wait to talk to her about it. But until then, I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and goodbye, everybody.